We're recording now.
Great. All right.
Did you want to start or did you want me to start?
Go ahead and you start. Let me just fix my computer. All right, you go ahead.
What is your name?
My name is Stephanie Cielo Carrillo Resendiz, but most people call me by Steph. Much more easier and, just gonna go to. How about you? What is your name?
My name is Danyelle Lampkin. My middle name's Dawn.
Dawn? That is such a pretty name. I don't know. That is really pretty. Okay, so where are you from?
So I'm from here, actually, Dallas, Texas.
Mhm.
When I was younger, I lived in Justin, Texas, but then I moved back here.
Okay.
Where are you from?
I am from Dallas as well. Been here all my life. One day I feel like I want to get out of this place. It's like a whale. You never get out.
What is your classification?
Mm, oh, my classification. I am a sophomore. I'm a sophomore. Sophomore here at Cedar Valley College. How about you? What is your classification?
I'm also a sophomore. I'm going everywhere basically. I have different classes at different campuses all over.
Oh, okay.
I started off at Brookhaven.
Oh, okay. That's where is that? East Texas or West Texas?
Brookhaven is in Farmers Branch, Carrollton.
Oh, so it's like all the way up there. Oh, that's far, girl. I heard that over there is really pretty.
It's nice. It really is nice. On the campus, there's like a big trail and everything. It's nice.
Wow. Oh my God. No, my Cedar Valley College. It's comfy. It kind of reminds me like especially during the fall. It's very old.
Oh, yeah.
It's old, but very like rustic kind of, if you know what I mean. It's like that. But other than that, yeah, I live like near Lancaster.
Really?
Lancaster, you ever been there? Yeah, that's where Cedar Valley is located at. It's in Lancaster.
My cousin lives in Lancaster.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Oh,
But that's too
okay.
far away.
Yeah, I know what you mean. One of my cousins, she lives all the way in Garland, so that's like the opposite side of you, right? That's like the opposite side of you where you live. So yeah, I was just like, oh Lord, going all the way up there. I don't think so. Okay, so what is your major?
So my major is an Associates of Arts, and then
Okay.
I'm specializing in history actually.
Oh, that's cool. So what exactly for history? Are you gonna be like a professor or what?
I want to be a professor, but honestly, if I'm a teacher too in high school, that's okay with me too.
Oh, that's really cool. No, I think that's mentoring, honestly. Like to have more teachers in this world to really, put themselves out there, I think is really cool. Plus, now that I think about it, I don't have a lot of female history teachers. I
Really?
mostly had males.
I
That's
have
really cool because you're gonna be like one of the first.
half of my history teachers are actually female.
Really? No, I never got blessed like that. So, okay,
Um,
my major, okay, I'm also doing the Associates of Arts as well, since in associate's degrees and everything. But my major is actually psychology. Um, as far as that is, I actually want to get my Doctor of Psychology degree, and I want to become a child psychologist.
that's awesome.
Thank you.
That's so cool.
Yeah, working with children. I always thought I was never gonna be good with children, at least with my own children. But I'm actually pretty good when I'm gonna share a photo with you where it's like literally me being huddled by like 20 little kindergartners all around. I'm like this giant trunk and it's just like kids all around me.
That'd make
Um,
my heart feel
it really does. No, it's warming to know that there's kids out there that really just need a friend, even though they're probably like a decade older than
right. That's what
you. So yeah, it's good.
you are. They just want to be your friend.
And they need that. They need that type of reassurance that they're not completely alone. Especially with the households of people of color. People like that, they really do not believe in like psychology or anything of those things. They kind of just throw in your face like you should just go to church, or they never really back it up with actual evidence of why a child is acting a certain way. And I've seen it a lot from personal experiences. Actually, gladly, I had really wonderful parents that reciprocated my feelings and everything. But there's a lot of kids out there that get thrown in their face that maybe if you're doing bad right now, there's people who are a bit worse than you. Like, shouldn't throw that out there. You should have a collective feelings for your children, and you should feel them welcome and blessed that at least if they were born into this world, they didn't want to, that maybe it's not so bad, like that. So yeah, that's how it is. Okay, so next question. You got anything else to say besides your major?
Oh, well, actually, I've changed a lot. I started as a business major,
Hmm.
but I took accounting and I was like, no, that's not for me.
Accounting? Oh my god, isn't that to do with, with numbers and stuff?
Yes, it's like, oh, it's like another language.
Oh no, I can't do that.
I think it was it messed me up because when I was taking accounting, it was right before quarantine happened.
Oh,
I stopped going in the middle of it and I was like, oh my God.
yeah, you were just like having a mental break. I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing?
Right. Like I didn't pass, but I got the credit. So I was like,
Okay, yeah. Hey, everything's good over here, As long as you get your credit with your money's worth, I think that's perfect. And even if you fail, that's okay too. Um, the closest thing I've taken to the hardest math, probably besides like calculus, which is like in high school, it's statistical math. It's really required in psychology since you have to do a lot of research, especially with child psychology. And statistical math is something that I had to get through. And then I talked to my advisor. She's like, "How come I don't actually have an algebra?" Because here's the thing: I took the DMAT, which is basically DMATH. I mean, yeah, that no DM. I forgot how to spell math. But it basically is like developmental math that you have to take before the actual math algebra course because you might score low on the TSI and you got to take that besides the algebra. But instead of putting me in algebra, they put me in statistical math and I stuck to it. I stuck to it all last semester. I got myself a A.
well, good job, good job.
Right. I was just like, girl.
Everyone
I did it.
with statistics, they just went crazy.
No, I honestly have the time. It was strange because calculus is like more equations, right? It's like an actual just in-depth equation. Sometimes worded questions, but it wasn't a lot like that. Statistical math has to do with like I don't even know how to explain it because it's so long. If maybe I brought up my notes, maybe I'll understand it and explain it to you better. But trust me, class is boring and it's very weird. But it left me with the sensation of that maybe I didn't. Maybe if I didn't K word myself, thank God I didn't, because at least I went through that. But yeah, yeah, that's basically it. Okay, so next question. When you graduate from college, what would you like to do for a living and why?
Well, I'd like to be a history professor.
Uh huh.
The reason why is because when I was questioning like what I was interested in when I was in business, I
Mhm.
actually was taking a history class at the time. And
Mhm.
then I looked at myself and I was like, listen, this is the only class you actually like. So,
I
and
get that.
as a kid, my dad would always put on documentaries in the History Channel and things like that. And that's always something I've really loved and cherished ever since I was a kid. So I thought, hey, you know what? Why not? Why don't I just choose something that I actually like?
I get that, man. Honestly, it's really wholesome to think that you had that since as a child. Uh, um, but I know for me, I guess to say when I graduated from college and what I want to do for a living and why, I never really had a goal. That was my problem when I was a kid. Even as a first grader, I remember the deafening school conferences you had with your parent and teacher. She'd be like, she's a perfect student. The problem is that she doesn't have a goal in her life. She doesn't have any idea what she wants in her life. She's always distracted. She sees a fly and she just gets lost into the abundant mist of whatever the hell she's thinking about. So that was kind of my life. And half the time I'll look at certain things and I'm like, what do I want to do? Used to look at the news anchor and I'm like, that's pretty cool. I want to do that. Or maybe I want to be like a doctor. And then I'm like, but I'm not really good at math or science. I'm not really good at anything really. And that kind of just like fed a really bad void in me that I just didn't know what I wanted to be. And if I did, I wouldn't be capable of finishing it or maybe capable of doing it going through. Um, so that was kind of like half my time of my life. I know a lot of kids still suffer with that nowadays, but sometimes it kind of just flourishes inside of you and it happens in the most random places. The reason why I become a psychologist, child psychologist, I explained it to you why there is such things of of why I want to be a child psychologist. Like, for example, like people of color households, they do not believe in psychology. They kind of just like push it away. I don't know if you ever felt that way as well. Maybe as a child that maybe your parents weren't always there, or maybe felt like you were misunderstood, or maybe that you needed help from a professional and it wasn't there for you. And here's the thing, I don't want to be a person to extract money from low income families either. If one thing for sure is that I want to help anybody that's able to be, helped with. Whether it's people who are in foster care, people who are low in income, people who are basically anyone who's struggling with those type of things. They believe that the work of a psychologist is only meant for people with money, people with who are able to afford those type of things. There's sometimes at the end of the day, I see every day how there's people like, I don't go to my psychologist no more because my insurance didn't cover it. It's too much money. And that's the thing. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it to help people. At the end of the day, I always had this sense of justice to become a hero. That's the thing. As a kid, you have these imaginations, these wild imaginations that you want to be something bigger for yourself, but you don't know what. And that's the thing. You can't obviously say, I want to be a superhero or a mermaid. You gotta have to choose something realistic. I remember one time, even my parents told me, like, you can't be a singer. First of all, that's not really realistic. The singers there is exist in the world and go to X Factor and throw themselves out there to sing. They do that, but I was shut down from that quickly. So instead of that case, I became a person who kind of just like struggled with those feelings, struggled with myself. And now I understood that what I wanted as a kid was in front of me the entire time is to have a friend, to have someone that I can look up to, maybe someone who can help me out through something that I cannot understand within myself and process those feelings. And that's why I want to become a child psychologist. Maybe I want to get my doctor of psychology, not for the money, not for those things, but to be maybe someone's hero one day, maybe for a sense of justice that I always wanted as a kid to finally come back to life. And yeah, that's it. And make friends along the way. 'Cause I love that.
No.
No, it made my heart melt when you said about the documentaries with your dad. I was like, those small moments are adorable. Oh, it's so cute. But okay, great. Next question. What is your favorite food and why?
Well, I like a lot of food, but the food that seem to be eating more recently is chocolate.
I get that. Oh my god, me and my sister's literally looking at me. She's just like, I'm like, we get that because here's the thing: we buy chocolate bars every single time we go to Aldi. Every single time they have really good chocolate bars. I recommend them to you. They're really good. Just go to the chocolate area and you see all the types of chocolates. They're like German. There's like all types of like how do you say, global type of chocolates and stuff. I recommend those if you really like chocolate. I'm not trying to feed into your, maybe if it's a bad habit of yours, I'm not shaming you. If it isn't, if it isn't, then I would totally recommend those chocolates for you because they're really good.
I just take a bite and then all my problems, they're gone. I'm just
Oh, I get that. um
Have you ever had a potato chip covered in chocolate?
no.
It's
I
amazing. Amazing.
really
Yes.
have never had that. The closest thing that I got something covered in chocolate are like fruits or like raisins.
Mhm.
God, that sounds so dumb. But I know people hate raisins, but I don't know why. It's just sweet and squishy. That sounds weird. But yeah. Um almonds or like just recently actually got like chocolate covered popcorn. That actually tasted pretty good. It had M&Ms in it. Chocolate M&Ms melted into the popcorn. My mom found a bag in Sam's, I think, and she got the bag, or what, Lowe's?
Yeah, no, it was Sam's.
Oh yeah, it was Sam's Club. She got this giant bag, and I finished it all the New Year's. It was just like, I'm sorry everyone, but this ain't gonna be for the table. It's for me. I understand it's a family pack, but I am the family pack. So, that's how it was. That's like probably the best. I'd say that's a pretty good food too. Is there like a meal that you like instead of a snack?
Meal? Probably ramen noodles.
Girl, we're basically the same. Oh my god. I love ramen noodles. See, I'm not well, that's the thing. I know you probably have like a more exquisite taste in ramen. Maybe like interpreted in like in Japan or like Asian cuisine, right?
Anything. Anything.
Anything. Yeah, because that's the thing. I like ramen noodles even if it comes in a cup.
Yeah.
Like the cup noodles. I don't know why they're so good to me. Like they just bless my heart and soul every day. They really do. They're heartwarming. I love it. Besides that type of favorite food and ramen, I really like. Oh, this is gonna sound embarrassing and very, very indulgent and engorging. I really like Chinese, but like Chinese buffets. I
Yeah.
don't know why. I don't know why. It's just I know people look at me and say Chinese buffet. That's not probably like real Chinese food, or it's like an indulgence of food. And so like I just really like it. It's like a very bad. It's a kink. It's like ugh. Like I love that. I love Chinese food. Like I remember I would go to the Mongolian grill and I would just like make my own Mongolian bowl. That was so delicious. Like maybe the rice or the egg drop soup with the rice in it. Like I would just something about it. It's just a very privileged experience. I don't know. Just feel like that.
It's nice because I grew up in a bigger family.
Uh
We would
huh.
go to like Chinese buffets or buffets in general because you know what? That's the biggest bang for your buck.
Exactly.
It was great.
No, we actually had like this family ritual every Sunday. Well, back then before the Corona, post Corona stuff, I remember we'll instead of when finally going finishing church and stuff, we will like go to the mall and then to the Chinese buffet at the end of the day, every Sunday. Or like now since there's no church, or maybe because it's COVID and everything, we just kind of go to the buffet every Sunday to just maybe go out, stretch our feet a little bit and maybe expand those bellies. But other than that, yeah, that's a really nice. That's really nice. That oh my god, we have so much in common. That is so cool. Okay. Is there anything else you want to add to that?
Well, I don't know.
No?
Go on and on about food.
Honestly, right. We could just go on and on. Okay, so let's move on to the next question then.
Okay.
What is your favorite TV show and why?
Well, recently I've been binge watching Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Okay.
Because like, do you know how that's been like a trend going on since quarantine times?
That is very true. My brother is one of them.
Yeah, that's me. This the first time I actually saw it was like
Huh.
right after quarantine, and like I wish I got that experience as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like by watching it, I'm just reliving childhood because like everything about it reminds me of like early 2000s things like that. Because I remember seeing it on Nick, but my older
Mm-hmm.
sisters they're like, no, that's lame, that's lame. So I wouldn't watch it.
They were just like, we're not watching that. Even though you want to experience yourself as a child, you're changing the channel.
They put on Zoe
Like,
101 or something.
oh my god, I feel you. I remember I used to have we didn't have cable back then. And embarrassing to say when someone asked me about SpongeBob, I'm like, what? Do you remember this episode of SpongeBob? I'm like, no. Like, you know what happened with Hannah Montana with I think his name is Jesse, and I'm like, no. I am so sorry, you guys, but I was piss broke and I did not have cable. I now have all the what's it called? All the platforms you can watch movies and TVs in, but I did not experience that when I was a child. So I got to make it up now. So so that's why I know I know the Avatar, The Last Airbender. I watched the entire show and I also watched The Legend of Korra.
Yeah.
I did. I actually really enjoyed it. There was this video clip someone made of all the colors of the Avatar and the Legend of Korra, and they put like a music video like in the background of it, and it was really beautiful. Honestly, something about it just reminds me of summer because that was around the time I finished the show Legend of Korra and The Last Airbender. So you're right, like that show is really good. I never really thought of it because my brother was the one who was forcing me to watch it in the first place. But in that, that's a really good show. I totally agree with you. That's another thing we have in common. We're basically twins now. We're basically soulmates. Okay. What else? Do you have any other shows, or maybe any other like realistic, maybe like a sci-fi show, or maybe like a drama show?
Well, I remember last year or a little bit before then, my dad and I we would watch a history show called The Vikings. And like
Oh.
it's really gory, but like it's awesome.
Uh huh.
It's really good. It's about the main character, his name's Ragnar. He's like a really cool, buff Viking. He's really
Uh-huh.
strong and things like that. And he ends up
Uh-huh.
leader later on. But I liked him so much. And then when I got my guinea pigs, I named
Uh-huh.
after that character.
Oh my god. You're honestly a loyal watcher. Everyone who does a show honestly appreciates the type of people. I never watched that show, but that sounds really interesting. Probably the goriest thing I watched was probably like Game of Thrones. That's about it.
I've never seen that actually.
A lot of people say they haven't watched it. Here's the thing. I just finished watching it during the winter. No, it was during the winter break. I finished watching it during the winter break. It was when it was like starting, and I remember I finished the entire show of Game of Thrones. I even have like a background wallpaper of like on my PlayStation with the background music and everything. Um, if I'm being perfectly honest, I kind of get why people didn't like the ending, but then there's just a lot of people who watch that show that have their personal opinions. If I'm being honest, I kind of just enjoyed it just to enjoy it, you know. Sometimes it was background noise. Sometimes I kind of just got into it. Sometimes I just kind of forgot about it. I even forgot about it that I even watched it when people were mentioning to me, if where's there any show? And you just reminded me that I watched that show. I finished that show and everything because you told me about the Viking one. I'm pretty sure they're totally, completely different shows. Even though that's like the most common thing. It's on HBO and it's very gory. There's a lot of boobies. So, a lot of nudity. So, yeah, you should watch out for that.
Have you ever seen Star Trek?
Star Trek. No, I have not. Actually, I have not. I watched Star Wars.
Oh, I've seen part of Star Wars, but I never actually got into it.
I got into Star Wars heavy. I even have a t-shirt, girl. The little baby Yoda. I don't know my t-shirt. Um, I got into watching all the Star Wars ones. But you say you got into Star Trek. What was Star Trek like? I never actually like seen anyone who's like fantasized about it or like anybody who's like a fan of it. You tell me more about that.
I mean, there's different series of Star Trek. You got Star Trek Original, Next Generation. The one
Mm-hmm.
I watched, what's the name? There's too many. I got into it because there was a
Mm-hmm.
movie in 2009, and it was like awesome. A Star Trek movie in 2009. I forgot the name of it, but that's what got me into Star Trek because just watching it with my dad was nice. But then I watched the original series, and then
Uh-huh.
oh my god, the CGI was horrible.
Just gotta bear with it, honestly, at those times.
But it's honestly pretty good. If you like nerdy and stuff like that, it's pretty cool actually. And I'm sure for the time it was amazing, but
No, that's really cool. No, I never actually got into Star Trek. Now I'm like thinking about it, like watching it because of you. That's
if,
pretty cool.
if anything, I would watch the movies first. The more modern movies because the CGI is so much better.
CGI. Okay. Okay, I keep that in mind next time. Well, when I watch Star Wars, I mostly watch the movies first because like I'm not a big fan of it. I'm not a super ulterior fan where somebody can tell me like what was how many clones were there? Can you name all of them? Oh, you're a real Star Wars fan? Name all the clones in it. I'm like, girl, I'm not like that. I'm not that type of fan. I am so sorry. But I can say that I watched enough to know a little bit of information most than people who have never watched it. So the thing is, I watch the movies in the release order, and that way you don't get spoilers or like, even though their spoilers have been like already been spoiled since the 1970s and 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's much more enjoyable to know the first one that was released in I believe 1979, which was the first one. Well, it's called now the fourth one, A New Hope of Star Wars, and they're just going on with the sequel. I mean the release trilogy order, and then watching the sequels, and then watching. I know how many people hate the sequels. A lot of people hate the sequels. And I don't know. I'm not very much of a person to really be judgmental or critical when it comes to movies. I say like I like the movie, I like Ray or something like that, and they're like I hated it. Like the sequels suck, and I'm like, I guess my bad for liking it. Jesus. So it's like, I hate fan bases. They're weird. This is why I never really get into it because I know some people get way too dragged in it, like a well, you know. And I don't hate on anything. If I'm being perfectly honest, I have very little energy to even get up in the morning. I think I have energy to do that. No, I do not. But so yeah, I recommend it that way. And release order is so much better. That way you can have the non-spoilers basically of the movies because when you watch the sequels, you already know who they're talking about and what's gonna happen. So yeah, that's basically it. Other than Star Wars, I was a really big fan of Supernatural.
Oh, were you?
And then I saw how Dean and Kester got canon. And then all the tumble girls start rushing in. Oh my god.
My younger sister watches it all the time.
Aw, that was really my sister. She like rubs off on my taste of music and like shows. She's watched all of it. She's like more of a fan than me now. That's crazy. That's actually really cool. Other shows that I watched, probably the only show that I watched back to back, even like after finishing it for like a couple of times, is probably Sherlock. I
Sherlock.
don't know. Yeah, Sherlock. Even though it's like I never really got used to like BBC shows or anything like that because I thought they were pretty boring. But when I watched Sherlock, I don't know why, like the music in it. I don't know why I love the music so much. I literally listen to it while I'm like doing my schoolwork and stuff. Um, that is probably like the best show that I watched so far. And what else? I don't really have a lot of other shows that I watched before that I can completely say that I finished it because then I kind of just pick up a show and I leave it like 3/4 finished and then I kind of just leave. I literally watched Death Note and I forgot to watch the last episode. Like that was just the last episode.
I've tried watching it, but I can't really get into it at all.
Like anime or like in
No,
general?
I watch so many animes.
Tell me more about that.
Okay, so I've seen a lot of like mainstream and non-mainstream animes. Like I've seen Attack on Titan, but I haven't finished the more recent season. I've seen Naruto. I've seen Tokyo Ghoul. I have like a whole list on my phone because I'm counting how many I've.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. I don't have that much experience with anime either. Here's the thing. I don't know why. I think it's because I never really got to experience that as a child. I never got to see all the shows because they were on TV most of the time. I had to stick myself to what I am now at 21 years old, watching it just now. So it's like, so I'm like, I just got into watching Tokyo Ghoul actually. I just started watching Demon Slayer too.
Yeah.
I started just watching those. I just started watching My Hero Academia. Just started watching. Don't laugh at me. Food Wars.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I needed the charger.
It's all good. It's all good. I understand now because I have a person right here on top of me right now. But no, probably the only thing I've watched so far besides that, that's kind of it. Yeah, because like I watched Tokyo Ghoul, I watched My Hero Academia, I watched Attack on Titan. I forgot about that. I heard they released the first episode. Oh my god! I also watched Beastars. Yeah, that's about it. There's not a lot. I don't exactly have a lot of experience with showing and tell.
No, I've seen too many, like way too many. I've seen so many sad ones. I've seen so many weird ones.
If I'm being perfectly honest, I think I'm more of a feel good type show types because like when I see like Tokyo Ghoul or like Attack on Titan, they're just so depressing and sad, and I just cry. And this is why I really enjoy watching Food Wars because it's like a feel good show. It's like funny and it's like it's just people doing what they like best and their passions. It's not depressing or sad, even though that's it's the main theme. People love it because of that, because it's so realistic. That's the thing. Me and my childish ways, I just do not really, I do not want to revolve around myself reality. So yeah, other than that, I don't really have a lot of experience like you. I know you say you have like hundreds of them. I'm just like, oh girl, I still have a long way to go.
Oh no, it's time. I started watching it my freshman year of high school, actually. So I started myself.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, no, I don't have that much experience like that. No, I literally just started watching them like when I graduated high school. Embarrassingly enough, I just had 2 years of experience. I watched some of them, but then I leave them halfway because I got something going on, like school, for example. And then I kind of just like, just goes out of my way on my mind. And then I scroll through my history of what I was watching, and then I see, oh no, I haven't even finished watching it. So yeah, that's how it kind of just like goes around. I never pick up new ones because then I'm just still stuck on the old ones. So it's a bad habit, but I know a lot of people would hate me for that.
Oh, you're
But
same thing.
Thank you. At least I know it's comforting to know that someone like a fan like you actually understands me a little bit, or maybe like it's okay, gonna be fine. Like, thank you. Okay, so is there anything else besides TV shows you think about or like maybe you watched before?
I mean, sometimes when I'm just doing things in my room, I put "Say Yes to the Dress" on.
Girl, yes. I know what you mean. Oh my god, I love that show. It's so pretty, right? Sometimes I wish I just got down there and just like I don't even care about a wedding. I just want to try on the dresses.
Oh,
They're so pretty. Oh no.
sometimes I just want one to have one.
Exactly. I was like, I don't even care if I don't get married. I just want the dress.
Right.
That's like literally like the only mentality I have. Like, oh no, I'd rather just like if there's a thing, if I'm gonna stay single forever, then I'm just gonna go ahead and just enjoy a wedding dress for myself. I don't need y'all. I don't need anybody.
But I don't even know why, because I remember when I went prom dress shopping, it was so frustrating.
I don't know. I never experienced prom, so I didn't go to prom.
Oh, my prom was pretty lame.
Really? It couldn't be that lame. I mean, like it's in a pretty area and stuff.
It was pretty lame. Our theme
Yeah.
was Galaxy, but the whole
Oh.
menu, it didn't have anything related to Galaxy at
What,
all.
what it had?
I don't like nothing.
Oh God, no, it happens. Budget cuts, you know what I mean?
And then our DJ was flirting with the teachers. So
That's weird. Oh, that's something you do not want to see sometimes. Oh well, but yeah. Other than that, the TV shows, um, dress shopping. I feel like dress shopping. I feel like again, I can see why it's stressful, especially for brides who are like waiting for the moment of the day, like the most special time of their day. Like gonna be like, oh, what am I gonna be wearing? I don't know what to wear. So they can't make their mind up. And I can see why prom dresses is kind of like basically the same thing. It's like once in a lifetime thing.
hmm.
And now I regret not going to prom now. Great. Honestly, I'm just gonna recreate a prom. I'm just gonna invite everyone in the class.
We'll be on Zoom.
Right, we're gonna be all on Zoom like No, but that's actually cool. But yeah, that's all the TV shows you can think about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm too busy to watch TV shows right now, so
No, I get that. Even during
no.
COVID. Okay, so let's see. What? Oh, if you have all the resources in the world, what would you do?
What would I do? I think first of all, I would travel everywhere,
Mhm.
anywhere.
Mhm.
I want to travel so bad, but I don't even have a passport, so I don't know how I'm gonna do that.
Girl, it's easy. Trust me.
I guess.
Oh
Uh,
no, it's easy.
and then I would probably volunteer at a lot of places because you know what? I have all the resources. I don't worry about anything. So I
Uh-huh.
volunteer at a lot of places to help people out because that's just what I want to do. But
Mhm.
what would you do?
Well, besides basking in the sun with all the resources, I'd be so grateful that I don't have to work anymore. That's the thing. Like as much as like this world revolves around money and you need it to survive, a very painful way, you know, it's really comforting to know that your dream job is having no dream. I mean no job.
Right.
Like but yeah, that's kind of like who wouldn't want that for someone to just be retired at the age of 20? I think that's very nice. You know, you could just go do whatever you want, or just like stay in bed all day. No one to ask anything from you because you got what you need. But other than that, I think half the time I wouldn't even know how to handle that money. I think I'll just give it away.
Right. No.
Yeah, I would end up giving away my resources or end up benefiting people who actually really need it more than I do.
Right. Because
Yeah,
like
no,
you only need a set amount of money, maybe like
exactly.
a million at most, really.
Uh-huh. You don't need that much money in the world. Like it, I know there's a lot of people who talk about Jeff Bezos right now, who
Mm.
are talking about how rich he is and how much he's like a person with so much money. Even if he was gonna donate like a few thousand or million of dollars, he'll still be rich enough for himself to buy I don't know how many mansions. Who needs that much money? If I'm being perfectly honest, unless that's gonna buy you like a mortality, then maybe, or maybe it's special for you. I don't know, but like that's the thing. Who I don't know. Maybe when you're in the spot and like that, maybe you just don't want to let it go. I don't know. But that's the thing. I'm looking at my perspective, at least in my perspective alone. I just don't see why I need that much money. And I think I would rather put it to good use to either help my family members or help people that really need it. Like, not like close friends either, even people who are just like really, really struggling. I live in Lancaster, well, close to Lancaster. I'm like literally in the border of Lancaster and like Dallas. I'm like right there. The freeway, it's like right there. That's like where it ends. And here in South Dallas, there's people who are struggling.
Oh
I
yeah.
heard that apparently, I don't know where I heard it from. I think it was actually our speech teacher. She said the poverty in Dallas is like the third highest. I don't know if in the country or in the world, but she said something like that. And I'm just like, that is insane. The third in Dallas, the amount of people that are struggling with poverty right now and low income, and that is something that I will not sit right with me, that I live with people down the street who are struggling, and for me to just be like, this is all my money, it's gonna be all mine.
Right.
I would not feel comfortable with that situation. I'd rather lend a helping hand and do what I can when I can with that money, you know? And that's it. I wouldn't keep it all to myself. Let's
And,
just be honest.
and like I grew up and my family wasn't the best financially off, so I had a lot of help from the government and things like that. And
Yeah.
if I had all this money, why would I just keep it? That's pointless.
Exactly.
With that, that's such a waste of money if you have all of it. So why not help people out?
Yep. Actually, you just brought me up an idea. Well, on a story. My great grandmother, she was, if I'm being perfectly honest, I never knew her, but my mom, she would describe her as probably the most richest woman she's ever met in Mexico. She lived there all her life in Mexico City, and she's kind of like a dragon. She only keeps her riches to herself and does not spend the money at all. She died. She died of old age, and she never even got to use all that money while she was like literally living like a person with who doesn't have a lot of privileges of having money, like a poor person. And she had all this money she could have spent on herself to have a better life for herself or maybe her people around her, doesn't matter. But she literally kept that money and hold on to it and just didn't waste any of it. And she died in very poor, low conditions in the way she was. And my mom, she looks at that every day and she's just like, cannot believe that woman will see her family struggling with their life where we will be in the dirt and out in the country. We had no water. We had to bring water through buckets. We had to wash our clothes in a river. And she would not even spend her money or a dollar or a dime to even sure for like, for anybody in her family who doesn't she doesn't care. And that's the thing. Family is a definition of your own family. That depends if you want to keep them in, and it depends if you want to have them in there. That's on you. But that's the thing. If she did not spend a dollar or a dime, she died poor, but as a rich woman's pocket. That's probably the most craziest story I ever heard. And I'm just like, why would she just keep that money? And for what? For what benefits? Because it didn't even benefit her, you know? Or is it like the status of it?
Probably.
I don't know.
Maybe
So
just
yeah.
like the pride of having that much.
There's a lot of interesting stories around that family. There's my other great grandma. She said she buried a treasure in like her next to my mom's hometown in her like in the next house. And that treasure apparently has been buried up by the like a rich man that used to live there. And that's why he has this huge house right next to this little tiny little shack of like a little aluminum roof house. I've been there before. I lived there for 6 months, by the way. And this man's house was a brick house with a foundation, with not a dirt floor. And apparently they stole this money from my great grandmother and used it to like build this house. And I don't know if it's real or not. I don't know if it's like, but I don't know. People have a lot of interesting things back down there that I still have a lot to process in my own realistic ways. But yeah, that's the thing. People will die with their money by their side and not spend a coin on it, and they will like shove it all to themselves only and be greedy and kind of just like eating out of their soul because of that. And like that's horrible. I never, knock on wood, I never want to be that person. Just saying. And that's the thing. I'd rather share my resources as much as possible and be the kindest person that I can be, or maybe that's kind of like my, how do I say, purpose in life, maybe? I don't know. It's just don't be a crappy person. That's it.
Right.
But yeah, don't be a crappy person. That's a pretty good motto.
Good way to live.
You can't live like that all your life, man. It's just wrong. But yeah, other than that, would you do anything else with your resources besides giving away or using it on yourself?
I mean, most of my family, we get by, right? But like it's
Mm-hmm.
not like we live in luxury. So I would want to support my family in any way I can for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because my family, we're usually always there for each other, even though we don't have a lot in general.
Mm-hmm.
My sister, she needed money. My mom's like, okay, you can have money. Be sure to pay me back when you can, though. And that's just how it is. I'd want to help them out, and they wouldn't have to do anything in return.
Mm-hmm. No, that's definitely good. Honestly, that's really heartwarming to know that there's family like that. Actually, did you ever see this video? Like, I think it was on TikTok. Apparently, this girl, she said that her dad would keep all the receipts and all her spending since she was born, and she had to pay all of that back by the time she was 18. I was like, and she said that they kept this binder for her, and it was also kept two other binders for her two other older siblings, which was like two guys. And apparently they had a lot less receipts, a lot of less debt from their own parents, like food, water, their bills, like clothing, or like anything like that, or like small little items. And apparently she had the biggest one out of the three, even though she was the youngest. And she said to herself, I am unemployed, especially during this time like this. I don't know how I'm going to pay my parents back with all that money and that big giant binder that I had to pay them all back. I was just like, what the what? Like, what is? And then people in the comments were like, you should like really talk to a lawyer. Like, you should really bring that up to a lawyer, because, or like get a lawyer, go to court. They shouldn't even be putting you in debt by the time you're 20. And some people will have these nasty comments back by saying that's what shows her to like survive in this real world. That's what happens. I'm like, what?
To be bored. Like, come
I'm
on.
automatically in debt the moment I'm born when I didn't even ask to be here. Like, what? Like that. I don't know how I got driven by that, but I knew I grew so angry inside and so sorry for that girl that even one day I was just like literally thinking, I was just like, I'm literally going to set up an account and I'm going to donate all my money to her. Like, I literally cannot see this girl struggling by her own crappy parents. Telling her, holding her in, saying, you're not leaving out this house till you pay me all back since you were born. You know, even though that was the bare necessities that you had to do as a parent when you asked to be here, when you decided to procreate a human being. That's on you as a parent. Can you please turn on the light? Thank you. So yeah. That's when I look at that and I'm just like, what? No, you can't turn on the light, please. So yeah, she's trying to turn off the light. I'm like, ma'am, I'm in the middle of a meeting. So that's like the thing. I was just like, when I saw that, I grew angry inside, but then it's so bitter. That is so bitter. Like, you guys are kind of a bummer.
Right.
Who made y'all? Who made y'all like this, yo? And so when I saw it, I was just like, that is insane and crazy and sad when you bring someone into this world that you decided to do, and then all of a sudden you got to put it on that child, saying that that's your responsibility to pay me back, because even though I did the whole entire action of doing it between another person and me, you're gonna have to pay me back. What? Like, that's one of those moments where I just like I lose my soul. I lose my soul a little bit, and all of a sudden I just become empty. So that's the things. Those are the things that when I see people, when what they make them do. Look what money make a man do. You know what I mean? And that's why I think it's proper way to say that if you have the resources in this very, very strange, weird world where they put the value of a piece of paper, then yeah, let it be then. But if we're going to be doing that, I'm going to be doing to my best of ability to not people go through really bad circumstances, trials, and tribulations because of the situations. Since you guys want to be classified a certain way and you guys want to make other people better than most other people, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to piss all y'all off because y'all make the system yourselves. I'm going to reverse and turn the table so hard that you guys are going to end up saying, like, maybe this was a bad idea in the first place. After all, it's called the balance of life. That's how it is. Once there's darkness, there comes light. Once there comes too much light, there's just a little bit of darkness. If I'm being perfectly honest. That's just how it is. In the world where it is right now, that's how it's gonna go. There's something always coming up every single time. It's just the balance of life. So yeah, when I look at those things, it makes me good to feel that there's still some people that are really good and some people that are really bad and crappy. That maybe there's something good that will come out of this. Maybe he'll probably like dying before he even collects his debt. But yeah, it's good to know. Other than that, but yeah, you have any other ideas what your research says what you would do?
Well, I think I'd probably try to clean things up, like environmentally. I'd want to get like, the
Mm-hmm.
plastic out the ocean and pick
Mm-hmm.
it off the street just because I have the time and can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like hire people to do it too.
That's good. That is very good. I like that. I enjoy that. I know that you ever been to like South Dallas before?
Hmm.
Yeah. So you ever seen how dirty the streets are sometimes? I remember I had to volunteer to it was like a school volunteer thing, but I was glad to do it on my own when I had to go all the way to Harris. Damn, what's it called? I kind of just call it Harris. It's like in the east. No, not east. It's in northwest Texas, Dallas. And then I remember we would have this park and like cutting in this freeway. We had to pick up all the trash and everything. And I was more than happy to do it. It was in the middle of February, right after Valentine's Day. And I remember it was freezing. I was freezing myself off. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I did it because it felt nice to actually contribute to the environment. You're perfectly right with actually offering jobs in those situations, especially with the good pay. Actually, there's a lot of conversations about the paying jobs and everything, but raising the minimum wage, it's a
Yeah,
perfect opportunity for people to finally have jobs and a livable wage to survive off this world, you know? And that's great. Honestly, that's a really great idea, you know? I like that. I like that. I like how you think. But yeah, other than that, you're totally right. For having all the resources in the world is to offer people more money, to make them survive. I want them to have a good life. I want them not to survive in this world and automatically have to contribute to their debt, or contribute to even getting the most bare necessities in this world. That's it.
right. Like life is hard, but if I could
Hmm.
make it a little bit easier for everyone, it
Hmm.
would be amazing.
That is very true. Honestly, I support that every single step of the way. And if you need help with that one day you get all your resources, I am gladly to be your second hand in person and to help you out with all this stuff.
All right.
We'll be a great team. But yeah, I think those are all the questions we got.
Well, yeah.
Yay. We got that finished. We got that done. How many minutes? I think an hour passed.
Stop recording.
Great. Right. Okay. So we can stop this. Bye.